and welcome to New Wine. We are here tonight with Scott Bowling. Say hello, Scott.
Thank you, ladies, for having me. Hello.
Hello. We're glad you're here. So if you don't know Scott Bowling, he is the master behind Good Company. We're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. And just wanted to say we've got Michelle Alexander with us. Say hi.
Hi, everybody.
And we've got Johnny Summers doing some questionable things.
Hi-yo.
Behind his microphone there. If you had a camera, you might go, what's going on there? Got to watch him. And one of the things that we talk about is at New Wine is friends, faith, extraordinary life stories, and new wine. So tonight we're going to try a new wine. And Michelle had this great idea. She brought 2 bottles of wine.
Yep, they're both cabs. Both cabs. And so number 1 and number 2. So we're each going to taste one, and then we'll have the big reveal. And I'll tell you where you can get them. They're both Cabernet Sauvignon, red wine. So Donna, take it away.
Right, so we're going to do communal drinking.
Yep.
Same glass, all of us. I feel like we need some like beatbox background music.
All right, I'm checking. I'm doing wine too.
I'm sniffing it. The audience can't really see that. But
Here you go, Scott.
Thank you.
it's got a nice, what would a wine person say? Overture?
Definitely overture.
I don't even know what that is.
I don't either.
Is that wine 1 or
No.
2?
This is 2.
This is 2.
I like 1. Okay, here you go, Scott.
Okay.
Pass one around.
Here's number 1.
And number 2. Are we supposed to like suck on some coffee beans to clean
I'm not
the palate?
a wine drinker, but I like number
Oh, you
2.
sniff coffee beans.
Sniff.
Oh, that's for perfume. Okay.
So you've had, Scott, you've had 1 and you've had 2.
Yes.
And you like,
Wait. You gave me 2. I like 1.
okay.
Sorry.
I think I have 2. I keep drinking this to decide.
All right.
Hold on, let me try 1 again.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I need to try 1 again, too.
Okay.
All right, Johnny, did you like 1 or did you like 2?
We can go with 1.
Wait. Oh, so 1 is very light,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I feel like you could never go wrong with 1.
1 is always safe, you think?
But 2 is a little dirty, and
Yeah, it's kind of peppery.
I like it.
They're both good, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Donna's making wine sound sexual. I love it. Okay. So she's got us these glasses, and like wine 1 is you are loved, and wine 2, and like wine 2, the glass is just be your beautiful self. Okay. So big reveal is both of these are Cabernet Sauvignons from California. Wine 2 is Testamento, which is a about a $21 bottle from the Vine and Cheese,
Good
recommended
price
by
point.
Don Wera. And then this is our good old Kirkland Valley, Alexander Valley 2016, Sonoma County, Kirkland. Get it at Costco, $9.99.
Kirkland's is number 1.
I got to tell you
Yes.
something. Everybody likes 1. And here's the funny thing is like, for a person who doesn't drink wine all the time and you just want to go and have a pretty decent bottle of wine, you cannot beat Costco and you can't beat this $9.99 2016 Alexander Valley.
Good
So
point.
there's our new wine for tonight. I like the Testamento, but I kind of knew that it was going to be the Testamento, so I may be a bias. But everybody else at the table liked number 1, Alexander Valley, Kirkland,
Well,
2016.
Technically, I preferred 2.
Oh,
She did. She said it was
yeah.
dirtier.
It was dirtier.
okay. So let me rephrase that. Okay, so the ladies like 26. The ladies like Testamento Estate, Cabernet Sauvignon, and no, actually, this is a product of Argentina. It's not a California, and this is Alexander Valley, 2016.
Yeah, it's kind of earthy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
for bang for your buck, you can't beat that Kirkland.
All right, so who wants 1? Folks in the audience, that's kind of hard to listen to because you can't partake. Are you a 1?
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Who else was a 1?
Johnny.
Give me a 2, though.
Johnny?
I'm going to try to
he's
go
going dirty.
crazy.
He's going dirty. Can I drink out of the Just Be Your Beautiful Self?
Yes.
Because, I'm working on that.
Oh, wait, this is for Johnny.
Oh, ha ha ha.
I'm working on that.
Johnny's a tank. Ha ha ha.
Okay. Hey, Michelle, I like this. This is great. Can we do this every podcast?
This is a great game. I love this game.
Wait, no, this is the wrong one. Hold on.
All right.
All right. So this is what you do with friends, right?
Yeah.
Well,
on a Friday night.
I do like wine. And I like to sit on a porch or at a friend's house and, not overtake, but definitely have fun sitting around talking. And the way actually this podcast got started, New Wine, is sitting on my back porch around a fire with wine, talking about faith and stories and people and life and experiences. And that's how we got started. And we came to you, Scott, because you have experience now. So I think you're about to come up on like your 50th
Yeah, 50th episode.
of Good Company.
It feels like I did way more though. Like everybody's like, "Wow, 50," but I'm like,
Feels
it
like
feels like 100.
150.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's a lot of work.
yeah.
But-
Yeah, and give us a little bit about your passion, your vision for Good Company.
So the future with the show growing, it's kind of, I have a lot of people now telling me what I need to do to make the thing bigger, and I'm like, well, this was kind of like just a hobby, but now people are like, well, you got to start selling merch, you got to start growing, and so I don't know where to take it right now. I'm kind of at this weird state of like, okay, this is for fun, but now I'm getting pressure to like make this something bigger. I don't know, maybe
Yeah.
you guys deal with that. Like, it's like,
Not yet.
No, we ain't there yet.
So, but like at the very beginning, why'd you even start doing this?
so when I first started doing this, I know you guys like Hall and Oates, right? Mm-hmm. So Daryl Hall has a show, or had a show called Live at Daryl's House.
Great show.
Yeah, you remember that?
Yeah.
So the premise of the show was like he would interview, not really interview, he would jam with artists like aimlessly, and all these people would come to his house and he'd make a whole episode and he would jam and interview. And so I was like, man, I love that idea. So that's how kind of the first couple episodes started that way. I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. My buddy Kurt Thomas kind of inspired me. He told me I need to film it, not do a podcast. Originally, I was going to do a podcast. And so we turned it into a show. And so this show, anyway, the Live at Daryl's House, I love how they interview people and jam with people. So if you watch the first 2 episodes, I'm interviewing them and jamming with them, but that's kind of hard to do, and that kind of went away.
Yeah.
So now we just do the interview part.
Let's do the interview.
Yes.
I mean, because you can always play footage of them.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah,
have
yeah.
more footage if you take. I still love jamming with people, but I use that in separate episodes, and so you get more
Yeah.
content.
Yeah.
But the weird thing about it is when I started doing Good Company, I didn't know if I could do it or not, and it's a lot of work getting people at your house. You got camera guys, lighting guys.
yeah, it's full production.
Yeah, and my first person was Kurt, and he's got like 1 million kids, so I'm like, all right, you gotta leave all your kids, and I gotta get my wife and kids out because I don't know what's going on. And then I'm like, okay, all this was in my brain, and now I gotta deliver.
Yeah.
There's no practice run, so everybody's at my house.
Hey, and you're kind of a shy guy, right?
I am a shy guy.
And you're now interviewing all these well-established, well-known legends in heavy metal and rock, and you actually have gone to their concerts and been on their tour buses and just interviewed them in these different places. And I got to ask you, so what's that like when you're naturally kind of shy and you're out there,
Yeah, it's funny you said that because when I do have bigger artists coming, I'll have people be like, oh man, how do you feel right now? So-and-so's about to be here. You grew up listening to this person. I'm like, shut up, dude. Like, don't tell me all that, man. You're freaking me out. So I try to like just, and I love hanging out with people like kind of like we did, by the fire and stuff. And that makes a big difference if you can kind of chill with somebody. And there, you don't have 1 million people watching you. It's just like this, so it's fun.
I remember you brought Brian Head Welch over to Gainesville First United Methodist Church by boat to the dock. And
pretty tight,
Mark and I had really gotten to know him through his I Am Second video. And he made a huge impact on my husband, Mark, and on me with his story. And there I am, standing there talking to this guy, getting a picture made with him. I was like, Scott Bully is legit.
That worked out perfect, didn't it?
It did. It
I was right.
great.
I was driving and I had one hand on my phone. I was like, "Are you at church?" She probably thought it was something serious. Like, I need to talk to you right now.
Yeah.
By the dock.
Yeah. And so we did. We went down so there he was. And so you're a prime example of what it's like when you take some passion, some idea that you have, and you see it through. And so Donna and I had gone to a worship leader conference, and we took this test, and it's called mycreativetype.com. You can go online. If you want to do a collaborative project, if you're a listener and you want to do a collaborative project, just go to mycreativetype.com. You can take a little test right there online.
Easy test.
Super easy to take. And I was like one eyebrow up going, And then I got my results, and I was like, I'm not that. And then I read it, and I was like, oh, I am that. I'm totally that. And so I came out as a thinker. Scott, you came out
A thinker.
a thinker. Donna, you're what?
Visionary.
Visionary. And this was kind of your idea in the first place. And then Johnny is the
Maker.
He's
the maker. And then guess what? The collaborative ideal for the visionary is the thinker. The thinker.
Nice.
And then, of course, I think anybody would want to collaborate with a maker.
Yep. Ain't that right, Scott?
That's right.
Yes. So, who have you kind of brought around you to sort of help you get things going?
So to get the kind of ball rolling is when I had Kurt, I interviewed Kurt, and I'm so glad he was so supportive, because when I interviewed him, I can barely watch the episode now, and it's so cringe. And
Cringy.
yes, and the whole time he's like, "Man, you're doing great. You just keep you're so good. You need to keep doing this." And he kind of encouraged me. And I was like, now looking back, I'm like, that could have gone two ways. Because if you said, "Dude, you suck," I'd be like, "I'm never doing this.
Yeah.
I'm burning the tape," or whatever. But
Was Jonathan Stoner at that particular interview?
he was at that interview.
He was at that interview.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a good story on that one.
Oh, maybe for another podcast.
Which, just curious.
I'll just say I brought Jonathan for like support. And then I literally said right before we started, "I have a guest room, Jonathan. If you want to like just get some sleep." He goes, "No way I'm missing this train wreck."
I'm here for you, Scott. That's what you need. You
Yeah,
need somebody
appreciate
in your
that.
corner
So-
pumping you up and
Yeah.
encouraging you.
You're sweating, Scott. Why are you sweating so much? Shut up.
So Kurt Thomas, who is a very good friend of yours, a recording artist, songwriter, right?
Yes. Singer-songwriter.
Yeah, singer-songwriter.
Pretty well
and
known.
Very much so.
Atlanta.
Nice guy. Love his wife, his family, and he was very supportive. And one of the things you were towards us as New Wine is super supportive, and you brought us in and you recorded us, let us do a live video. We introduced a song that we wrote. So that's kind of why we're cross-pollinating and having you back.
Yeah, it was great having you
Here
on.
is we want, first of all, to say thank you. And that's what friendship is. You guys mean a lot to me. So we wanted to spend some time around this table drinking wine and talking about friendship and creativity and collaboration and where that's brought us. So Michelle, this was kind of your idea, really, the podcast for New Wine.
Yeah, I'm crazy about podcasts. I love them.
Me too.
Do you? What do you like? Which ones?
I'm not like a music, anything music, but I love Joe Rogan. I don't like he gets kind of weird, but he has some of the best interviews. Like I just love a good interviewer. That's what I like. Something
Yeah.
where you don't even care about what they're talking about, but once you start listening to it, you're like, I can't stop, because they ask great
Yeah.
questions, and I'm just attracted to that. What do you like?
I like to hear people talk about the world and things that are happening, faith, spirituality, philosophy. I mean, I don't mind. I like a musical podcast too. Leadership. I mean, I've gone through the gamut. What about you, Johnny? You ever listen to podcasts?
No, but I am an avid YouTube watcher. I don't mean, Scott, what interview sticks out to you from the first 50 episodes?
Like which one would be my favorite, or just? Yeah,
I mean,
something
maybe
like
not your favorite. Maybe the one that just kind of sticks out for whatever reason. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
or your favorite,
that?
whatever.
No, there's a bunch of them. I think the first one I think of is early on, probably episode 3. Christy, my wife, and the kids were out of town, and I had an interview a guy named Bones from a band Stuck Mojo. He shows up, and I don't know if he's hungover or if he's just starting. Either one. He was going for it, and so anyway, he shows up and he's drinking whiskey on the table, and he's getting up all like kind of leaving his seat, getting all in the camera in his face. And this is only my 3rd one, so I was like, "What am I doing? Like, I don't know if I can handle this." Right. So I just played it cool. But yeah, that's early on. A lot of my good memories are kind of early on from those days because I didn't really know what I was doing. And I love, like you said, like going on boat rides and stuff. All the extra stuff outside of the interviews really stick out to me. Going to dinner with people I interview is really awesome. Inviting Johnny Summers over.
Yeah, just let me ride your coattail. I appreciate that.
Yeah, there you go.
You're a good boy, Scott.
Getting to play with the artists is amazing too, by the way.
Have you got to do that some?
Yes. So I had maybe four different times, and just the bonding, like practicing music with people I grew up listening to, and that's really cool. This cat is
Donna's cat just bit the crap out of Michelle.
Her name is Sassy, and she is psycho.
She lives up to the name.
Okay, so what do you play? You play xylophone? What do you play?
I play the trumpet.
Yeah.
I play a mean
not that there's anything wrong
cowbell.
with that.
I'm Will Ferrell. I play the cajon with the guys. That's about it.
He's a drummer.
I'm a drummer.
I sort of say, like, for the average listener, cajon means like
nothing.
So I know you've said the intro a million times to Good Company. Give us a little intro.
Intro.
Yeah.
Like what Good Company is about? Is that what you're asking?
Like what you say in the beginning. Like
I've got this because I say the same thing.
You say it a million times. So
I feel like I should have like more of a Barry White because I got this in my hey guys. You want me to give the intro for?
Yeah.
Hey guys. Hey guys, my name's Scott Bowen and you're watching Good Company. But right now I'm saying, hey guys, you're listening to New Wine.
New Wine podcast. Yeah, that's all right. It's all good. Yep, that was good, Scott.
Thank you, Donna.
Yeah, I think you're quite talented.
Yeah, for me, I think podcasts are great because you can like almost have observe a conversation with someone that you would never get to meet otherwise. I don't know. There's just something about listening to someone that you can read their book or whatever, and they're just talking to you. I like the fact that you do musical ones. I guess I don't know why I don't necessarily get into the musical ones as much. Maybe because I do music all the time, or maybe because I'm the thinker of this particular operation. But yeah.
Johnny's back in the room. He left for a brief moment.
He wanders. He goes on walkabout.
That's true. ADHD, it's a real disease.
Would you like to go and walk about?
Walkabout.
I don't know, but I like my glass that says "Just be your beautiful self," because that's a lifelong journey, and Testamento certainly helps me be my beautiful self.
What about that show where they do a movie review and the people doing the reviewing have had like a few too many? What's that show?
I don't know that one. I always defer to Drunk History, which is...
Okay, all right, so maybe that's it.
So it's basically drunk people retelling how they interpret history, which is kind of more my speed. I mean, I think back...
The history or the drunk part?
Well, I mean, whatever. I mean, it just seems like anytime that I'm part of a live production that's recorded, I always tend to interrupt it. Like that time that I was over at Scott's house during Good Company, and they could hear Billy Ray Cyrus in the background because I was getting ready for that country gig.
That was a great story.
5 miles away.
I want to hear that story.
So I was interviewing Sonny, and we kept Johnny. First of all, he almost died at my house. I don't know if anybody heard that story. He was eating, what was it, ham, pizza, or something. I can't remember what it was. He starts choking, but he wants to be quiet while he chokes because we're filming.
He was a courteous choker.
I mean, he's got, a lot of money sunk into this production, and I'm over at the side choking on this pizza.
Yeah. Anyway, so he finally, he's choking, and nobody's helping. People are just looking at him like, be quieter. Stop choking so loud. We're trying to record.
Don't die so loud.
I mean, the choke is more like...
So he finally makes it outside. So we're like, yes, he's gone. I'm thinking all this, like, yeah, all right. So I'm keep talking. Then all of a sudden we start hearing achy breaky heart, like in the background. And I'm talking to the guy. We're like, we'll keep going. We'll just keep going. Then we keep going. Then we're like, all right, stop. They keep breaking hearts.
I know. I mean, if you want to basically sabotage your programming, just invite me. It's fine.
I'm just glad that you and Jonathan Stoner weren't there at the same day. That would have been so brutal.
I'll be
Scott,
joking.
why are
He'll
you
be
sweating
going,
so much?
Yeah, I know. Why are you sweating? It's gonna be a train
oh,
wreck.
that was terrible. Do that again.
Say, like, if when you listen to something that we wrote in 2010 and now it's 2019, what would you say, like, what's that evolution been like?
I feel like we are more free now in our lyrics and our music style. I think that in the early stages, it was just, I felt like a lot of times when you write music, you write lyrics and you come up with a chord progression. It oftentimes is mirroring what you're going through in life, or what's on your mind, or what you want to say to the world. And I think as your musical skill and the people you bring along with you, which we've brought along
Johnny.
Yeah, Johnny. So we'll come up with a song and I'll write it on a silly little ukulele and I'll hand it to Johnny and he'll just make it magical.
Yeah.
And so I feel like collaboration has taken, something that was just a little song that we used to this where the possibilities are endless, and bringing more people into it. And I think one of the things that people get tripped up on in their creative work is they're so possessive about it.
That's true.
And when you, hey, Sassy, that's my cat talking. When you kind of give it away or you let other people, speak into it, I think it makes it better.
Yeah. So, saying that for me, I've kind of seen how you're sort of the loose creative person and I'm kind of the, okay, well, let me put skin on it. And Johnny's the one that's like, he takes my little formula and you're almost chaos. And Johnny kind of takes the two and pulls it together. Scott, who do you kind of collaborate with when you do Good Company? Are you like a solo act?
Solo act, yeah.
Total solo
It's kind of
act.
in my brain, yeah.
But then what happens to you when you have the people sitting in the chair across from you?
That's a good question. That's a thinker. I don't know. I just, it's mostly in my brain. I just kind of go bounce ideas kind of back and forth, and hopefully they talk back and give me something to work with.
Yeah.
They're not mute.
Yeah. Do you feel like that most of the time you're able to connect?
Mm-hmm. That's good.
That's good. Yeah.
Sorry
Cheers.
about that. Noise.
That wine
Cheers.
number 2.
I'm able to connect if more so if I'm really love the band. Like if I grew up and I know their stuff and I'm not cramming just to
get to
ask
know.
questions, but like
what band do you love?
Seven Dust.
What band do you love?
Seven
Dust.
Yeah. So but I grew up listening to them, so I'm asking them questions that they don't even know. They're like, "Oh, you know that," and so
Yeah.
that's the kind of stuff I really am passionate about. But I know I got to interview people that I don't know nothing about. That's hard to do, because I'm asking some questions about their music. I'm like, I don't know any of your stuff, man. But
How do you
let's talk
prepare
about
for
it.
that? Do you spend a couple weeks?
I spend a lot of time. It's kind of like preparing for our music at church, Like I just listen to all their stuff and try to get familiar with the catalog, go through each album and stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, so one of the things I think I appreciate most about collaborating and the creative aspect of it is just people being real, just being themselves. That makes an interview a whole lot easier too,
yes.
right?
Yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I want to do something like where we all sit, because we all eat, and I always get food, and we have this big Jesus last meal kind of table, and so I want to
Yeah, you do.
I want to bring the cameras in there because that's where all the great conversations are, around the table.
That's a
kind of
great idea,
connect,
Scott.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like break bread together and kind of thing.
Or fire tables. Things like really happen around a fire table. We had a bit of a theological debate between Johnny and Michelle on the front porch around the fire table. We won't get
Happens
into that
all the
but
time.
That
Yep.
would have been a great podcast if we had just had our equipment.
But do you think that there's something to the fact that people know that they're mic'd up? Like, people know that they're being listened
It makes a
to.
difference.
Like, it's almost like you got to do candid camera, be like, boom, and that's the podcast. You know, like where you just mic the room.
We shoot videos at church sometimes, and like when they're doing the outtakes, I'm so relaxed, I'm so having fun, and then as soon as that camera, and I know that camera's rolling, and they need this take, it's hard to stay natural, and that gets better with practice. And I know after 50 episodes, you have been so
better
much
with
more
practice.
comfortable.
Yeah, because I watch the episode, and I can only watch it a couple of times. I'm like you guys, I don't know if you listen to your episodes, but I'll listen to it just to figure out what I want to do different next time.
Yeah.
But then after that, I'm like, screw this. I ain't never watching this again because I hate watching myself.
I know. I feel you on that. When I first started leading worship, I would write my prayers out. Like, I would have my music stand up there, and I would say, okay, this song, and then I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to do this. And I just had to do it that way for a while.
Wow. How long did you do that for? Was that
I
a
probably
long time?
did that for about a year, actually. Like, I would sit on a Sunday morning, I'd get up really early, and I'd think through the music and what it was saying to me, because I kind of didn't have a prayer language. I didn't have just a natural outpouring of what I could say that I didn't think was going to sound really cringy, you know? And so I'd write it out. And then I got to a place where I could kind of just spontaneously do it. And I'm not saying it's not cringy, but I am saying that I'm more comfortable. And it's nothing but repetition. It's just doing it, being up in that place. And so
Wow, that's cool.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I first started playing drums with you guys. I wrote you remember that notebook I used to have? I used to write out all this stuff. So once I got more comfortable, I was like,
I loved Scott because he charted it, man. I love it.
but it wasn't like proper. Like it was just like boom, check, okay.
Yeah, I didn't care.
4 times.
All I knew is that he showed up to rehearsal and he knew how the song was supposed to go, and I was like, I love this guy.
But that goes for anything, right? So, I mean,
Yeah.
if you write, you read, you sing, you play gigs, you do whatever. I mean, the more you do it, the easier you get. You know, you do HR or drink wine
I do those things.
or drink domestic
Not
beer.
at the same time, though.
You know, over and over, it gets a lot easier. Yeah.
I think it's interesting, like how people can be. I've heard like musicians say they're like socially awkward, but on stage they like feel free. It's weird, right?
Yeah.
But then like when I do Good Company, before we start recording, it's kind of awkward. Like you're trying to get to know people, but then when you sit down and you have cameras on you, have a reason to like, I can talk about your band, and there's a reason I can. I'm not being weird, you know. I don't know if that makes any sense.
It
I just feel
totally
more
makes sense.
comfortable asking whatever whatever's on my mind.
I mean, anybody who's been sitting next to me at a bar knows that I can talk about faith and stories, and I'll work in some God, Jesus stuff at some point, and that's just my DNA. You know, it just comes out.
It's not forced. It's not like, hey,
It's-
I'm
it's
trying
not
to reel
evangelize
you,
you or whatever.
To come to church
I just
on
want to hear
Sunday.
your story.
Yeah.
You know, I just want to hear your story. What's going on with you right now, and that kind of stuff. And I don't know. I think there's just something to that's what I like about Good Company is you just sit across from someone. And what I like about New Wine, you sit across from somebody and you say, you're valuable. You're here. Talk. I want to hear what you have to say. And then you're genuinely interested. And I think you're great at that.
Oh, thank you. I love what you guys are doing. That's really cool.
And you're funny.
It's funny. So I wonder
Funny
if
looking. All right, go
funny
ahead.
looking?
Sorry.
You're really funny, Johnny.
I'm sorry. We have a banter. I know I probably just sound like I'm just knocking Scott, but he's my boy. So,
Okay, so
you
we
know.
call Johnny and all these guys that we're the praise babies.
Yeah, because you're a big baby. You know, that's
I know
pretty much it.
they have a sign on my office. It fell off, but it says I was the head baby.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, so the great thing about this group is I feel like we can be real. And I think maybe there might be a few listeners out there that find it unusual that we are mixing faith. We're sitting here testing out a few different wines.
Rock and roll.
We're talking about rock and roll. We're hanging out at bars. You can find us out at a gig Friday night in a bar setting at Waffle House at 2 a.m.,
Yep.
having fun, Johnny will throw a waffle at you for unforeseen reasons, sausage, whatever.
I'll order the double waffle just for that purpose.
Yeah,
actually.
he likes to throw waffles. Anyway, so and then Sunday morning, I mean, we're there.
I'll open for Jesus.
Yeah, 8 a.m. We're ready to go, and Michelle, you're there by 7? We've got 2 services, and so part of the I think the core of what we want to be in New Wine, and I'm sure you're probably the same way, Scott, is you want to be real. And I think a lot of times we portray, our faith walk as if it's some kind of set apart thing that only really good people can attain, and
piety.
Yes. And so, I mean,
I'm anti-piety.
So that's not me. And
Johnny has a discerning look on his face. He's like, "Uh-oh, you lost me."
Yeah, you did lose it just a little bit, only because I don't feel like we talked about Jesus at all leading up to this point. But
I know it's been
Do
sprinkled in.
you want to talk about Jesus?
yeah, let's talk about Jesus. You want to?
Well, hey, the very first thing I said was friends, faith, extraordinary life stories, and New Wine. See, he wasn't listening. He must have been on a smoke break.
Wait,
No, I caught that.
Wait, you have to say the J word.
Jesus.
I was like, faith.
Jesus,
Okay.
Jesus.
So I find absolutely
It's all about you, Jesus.
I find no
It's all
conflict
about you.
in being this and also talking about faith and right.
Yeah, I love it because when I first, I kind of got away from church for a while, and then when I came back, it was at my my brother's church, and that was around when I was about 22, 23, and I was going crazy, just partying like crazy. And then so I kind of got invited back to go to church, and I felt like I could not connect with the people I went with. I'm like, they're like, I'm never good as them. And so I kind of acted a certain way, and that kind of brought in a lot of anxiety that kind of never went away. But I wish I had something like this when I came back, because I would have fit in. It would have been perfect,
We were talking about trying to have church at a bar or a pub or just, I mean, we are not kidding. Something where a person just walking by would go, hey, I want to check that out, without any of the pretense. The walls of a church sometimes can be a little bit intimidating.
I honestly think church is morphing, and the institutional big box that bricks and mortar, just like everything else. I mean, I don't want to say Amazon church, but there's something happening, and I'm not the visionary enough, mycreativetop.com. I am not the visionary type enough to say exactly what is happening, but I feel it because I'm super intuitive with that kind of feels, and I can feel something's happening, and I'm still, just pour away, girl. I'm in that. I'm inside the structure of the church, but I also feel like being pulled outside the structure of the church. And what's that going to look like? And how are we going to do it? And how do our gifts and our skills and our love and our passion and our care for people just exactly how they are? I mean, that's so important to me. And that's how I know that I love Jesus and I love God, is because I care crazy amount of love for people and who they are and exactly who they are, no matter what.
Right.
No labels. No
I like that.
labels.
I like that.